Good morning, friends from around the world. I am so pleased to be with you this morning. Today, we have the privilege of interviewing a really close friend of mine, Chris Campbell. Rufus, relax. Chris is a really close friend. We used to play rugby together. He used to be a ferocious rugby player, and he underwent quite a transformation in college and afterwards that he'll tell you about. But basically, he completely changed his lifestyle and his perspective on life. So it's absolutely amazing. And so what a delight this is going to be, asking him about this wisdom that he's gained and all the positive changes in his life. And we're going to ask him all kinds of deep questions about happiness, about existence, about mindfulness techniques. And I hope you enjoy the show as much as I know I'm going to enjoy it, because Chris is truly a delightful guy. So this broadcast is brought to you by Karma Tribe, which is a global community of people willing to help each other for free. And it works through our website, karmatribe.com, where you can offer and request free services. Anything that you would like to offer, you can put it up there, like perhaps a tour of your town to a traveler, or an English class, or maybe you would like to request some computer programming help or someone to help you with your website. Through this network, you can share your gifts and you can find help with whatever you need. We're already in 56 countries, and this month we are interviewing all kinds of super inspiring people, and almost on a daily basis, because we are crowdfunding. Yes, you heard it, crowdfunding. Because basically Karma Tribe so far has been built with very limited resources, and hundreds of people are helping each other through it. But now we're asking the community for help so we can take the project to the next level. And here I'm going to show you a little bit what we're doing. We're building an app and also a projects feature so that people can actually organize a project through Karma Tribe and find volunteers to get involved and make the project happen. So we think this is super exciting. We think we can start having environmental cleanups and feeding the homeless and all kinds of activities all over the world happening through Karma Tribe. So we find this very exciting. If you happen to donate to our crowdfunding campaign, you will receive some Karma cards. This is one of the rewards. We also have amazing t-shirts for people that donate. So if you're interested to check this out, it's at this link that's below on your screen, karmatribe.com/I-believe. If you believe in the power of kindness, help us improve this technology and multiply the kindness all around the world through Karma Tribe. That's what it's all about. So now, without any further ado, I would like to bring on the man of the hour. Please join me in welcoming Chris Campbell. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Never better, my friend. Never better. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
Good. Such an honor to be here. Thanks for all the work that you're doing, and I encourage everybody that is listening. It's such an inspiring thing that Dave is doing and Karma Tribe is doing. It's kind of, we're so conditioned to be doing stuff that we don't really want in our life, and Karma Tribe is really here to stop that, is here to help people just do what they love and help other people. And people that are in need also receive that help. So it starts creating this environment where people are not really forced to do something. It's more that people are doing what they love. And so I really encourage everybody to donate if they can to keep this going.
Thank you very much, Chris, for saying that. Appreciate that. So yeah, Chris, it's really a privilege to have you and to be your friend. And it was amazing to see the transformation that you went through college. I know because I lived with you, and I remember you were a different person at the beginning of college than at the end, completely different. Yeah. So can you share with us a bit about that journey and the before and after?
Sure. I guess it all kind of started there in college, as you said. I think the whole idea in Uruguay. I'm from Uruguay, South America, and like everything else, but in Uruguay, we're kind of like a closed society. The same kind of people throughout your life, so you're kind of conditioned to that environment, and people kind of make up an identity for you. You make up an identity for yourself. And so, whenever I came to the United States, it was, and maybe this is the same for you, Dave, but it was kind of like in some way, like nobody knew you the same way as they would know you before. And so, in a way, it's kind of like a death to the person that you were before, and at the beginning that's really painful. I really struggled the first year or so. The challenges of whoever's looking at you is not looking at you with the same eyes that whoever used to look at you whenever you were back home. And so all of a sudden you're just no one, and you're completely a different person. You feel a different person. And so it is really kind of like a death to the identity you had. It's a death to the ego that you had in some way. And so it was kind of like an opportunity, to realize that, I'm not really who I thought I was in such a way. I'm not this person who is good at this, or, what people think of me. In reality, you're so much more, because, and that was the trigger, was moving somewhere else and realizing that, you're not what society perceives of you. You're not what your thoughts are telling you who you are at that moment. And, I think that college had moving to a different country, different language, different friends completely, help, start that transition. And, not only that, but after college, I started for the first time living by myself. I never really lived by myself before. It was always, with my family. And then in college, it was different people, but it was always, with roommates and stuff. So it was this, after college, it was the first time that I would, just be with myself. And so, yeah. And then a big part of it is that, and it's funny because all my family is kind of on the same path, but my parents introduced us to the Power Now by Eckhart Tolle, and that had such a profound transformation, and it was very in line to what we're saying right now. We are so conditioned that whenever you grow up, you're this person, you're good at this, you're a separate being, you need to be better than somebody, you need to, all these things that are put in our head, and we're not really kind of living to our authentic being, who we truly are. And so the Power Now is really, it's really one message at the end of the day. It's really that there's two worlds. There's one that is the world of our mind, who thinks about the future, thinks about the past, has an identity of who we are, and with that, comes the fear. So what am I gonna do? How do people see me? We live in this constant fear, of limited beliefs. And what this book says, and I truly kind of resonates with me, is that at the end of the day, that is just in our minds, and at the end of the day, the reality of who you are is who you are at this moment, who you are in the present moment. And so that had that realization had a huge transformation in myself. And, that led me to not take life as seriously, and to live much more, free. And I think that was also the trigger for me to transform. I started getting much more aligned with that, with who I am in this moment, and not so much on, I need to do this, I need to do this, they tell me to do this, you need to do this to be happy. I mean, in reality, we are already by nature complete human beings, and we are already like free in this moment, and that's our true nature. So that was a big part of my transformation.
So when you found out that who you were was who you were in the present moment, what did you discover? Who did you discover that you were?
That's a good question. I think it's not something you can explain really with the mind, but just knowing that I'm not really my thoughts. I'm not really who people think I am. I don't really need to pursue certain things to be happy. And if and that's a really good question. I mean, that's a good question that I like, is to ask yourself, who am I in this moment, without the mind telling me, defining that. And if you really not think about it, and just try to sense that on an experience basis, there's really no answer with the mind. It's you are really this experience, this energy force that is aware in this moment. And so it leaves much more, it just kind of leaves a sense of peace without really interpretation of who you really are.
Wow. Very, very deep stuff. Very interesting. It kind of reminds me of in Taoism, they say I think they say the Tao is like emptiness, and that I think that's like it's a translation, of course, but I think that can be misinterpreted. It's not saying that we're just nothing, like in the typical sense of like nothing. It's that, think about like all the things that can come out of nothing. Like the entire universe came out of nothing. So within nothingness, there's the entire power of the entire universe. Even like in quantum physics, you can have a vacuum, a complete vacuum, and then suddenly you can have like particles spontaneously appearing, positive particles and antiparticles, like spontaneously appearing out of a vacuum. So I think that in that stillness of the present moment, it's like on one level, it's just kind of like stillness and nothingness, but on the other level, it's like tapping into like a vast energy, vast potential, infinite possibilities, and like a very deep power.
Yeah, I totally agree, and you make a good point there, because it's the same as, whenever you're in that state of, nothingness, or presence, or however you want to call it. From that nothingness, as you said, like, things appear. And if we want to take that to a human level, if you're living that way, you there's much more of a chance that your true self comes out, your true passions come out. And I think this is kind of the whole karma tribe thing, as many other things, that, what 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 inspired you and people in karma tribe to do this is not, it wasn't on a kind of like on a ego based, that you were conditioned, okay, you need to do this to be happy. It was more of a sense, like, it came from inside, from being still, from being in that kind of nothingness state where your true essence comes out. So I agree with that.
And absolutely. I just want to call attention to these beautiful comments coming in from Elena. Mother.
Mother. Yeah.
He says hi.
Yeah, she was the one that introduced us to Tole to begin with.
Really? I had forgotten that.
Yeah. She introduced it to my father, and then my father, and they both introduced it to both of us. So yeah, I mean, it's really a privilege that, not always you have family kind of in the same, kind of the same path, or the same. And so it's an honor and, privilege to kind of, be in a family, Alan, Tommy, and we're all kind of my brothers. We're all kind of on the same journey. So.
Yeah. And it's just so interesting how everything's connected, because Tommy was the one that really fired me up about the power of now.
Yeah.
And then Alan is the guy who like really came up with the original idea of Karma Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Hang out with him. And then Tommy just made like a huge donation to Karma Tribe for the crowdfunding too. So
wow.
It's like a member of your family has like brought so much to my life. It's so crazy, actually.
Yeah.
So I had another idea. Like, also another thing is about the mind and the power of like the present moment is that the mind is such like this. The brain is such a powerful like machine. Like, it is literally the most powerful machine, like probably in the world for like doing all different kinds of complex things. Like, it can, at the same time, it can like keep a heart beating. It can sense a bazillion nerves all around your body. It can be doing your digestion. You can be walking. You can be thinking at the same time, like projecting like plans to build like a bridge or something. So it's like an extremely powerful, amazing like thing. And most of the time, we're like, with our conscious mind, we're like thinking about like stupid little things like, I missed the bus. Why did I miss the bus? I should have come earlier. Why didn't I come earlier? I'm such an idiot. Why did I leave the keys hidden? Or, like, we focus like on like little things, like in just loops of thinking about them, as opposed to like just like finding like stillness and letting our mind just like come to brilliant solutions on its own by just letting it work, like without trying to focus it on one or two like little small stupid things. Haven't you found that some of your most brilliant ideas come from maybe like a time where you weren't actually thinking at all?
Yeah, No, for sure. There was a lot of times, and I mean, even for work related stuff, you might want to try to think something really hard, and it seems like the more you try, you don't come with an answer. But then you might just be riding your bicycle, and it just comes out. And totally, I wanted to comment on what you said before, and it's so true. I mean, not only do we have these thoughts that don't serve us at all, as you were kind of mentioning, but I don't think it's so much the idea of having that thought. Okay, I missed the key. You know, those maybe are meaningful, but the worst thing is dwelling on the thoughts. And especially the thoughts that I'm not good enough, or those kind of things, or what will people think about me, and those kind of things that it's just like it doesn't really help you at all, and it's not the truth. At the end of the day, as we said before, we're all unique, complete beings, and we shouldn't be having these thoughts. So once you have this awareness that it's just thoughts passing by that are mostly conditioned by society or our past or whatever. So whenever and I have my little cat here saying hello. whenever we are we realize that, then we can use our thoughts much more consciously to do the stuff that we want. And as you said, the mind is an incredible tool that we have, that we can use to do like so many things. And imagine a world, and you're seeing it. You see it with Karma Tribe, and you see it with so many other things. But imagine a world where people just start consciously, living kind of based on their authentic self, and consciously start to creating things. I mean, it's imagine how a different world it would be. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So so many questions are coming to my mind here, Chris. Like, on a practical level, what should a person do when they start to be in like a pattern of destructive thoughts? Because like sometimes it's not productive to like be thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be having these thoughts. I'm so stressed right now. Why do I always get stressed? I shouldn't be having these kind of thoughts. And you can even realizing the destructive nature of thoughts, it's almost like not enough, because then you can even be even harder on yourself, and because you start thinking about your thoughts.
Right.
And so how do you escape that like vicious circle?
And that's a good point. I mean, it doesn't being hard on yourself because you're thinking negative thoughts is not really going to solve anything, because at the end of the day is your ego is thinking those negative thoughts. And so if you're hard on yourself because of those negative thoughts, it's the same ego, so it's it's the same type of energy. And that's the same thing whenever somebody's doing something negative. If you go attacking that, it's that same kind of energy. So I think what we need to realize is first that we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts just come and go. Our thoughts are conditioned by our experiences, everything. And everybody's having the same kind of thoughts. I'm not good enough. I need to do this to be happy. I shouldn't be this way. I should be that way, and that kind of thing. So everybody's having the same kind of thoughts. There are really no new thoughts. So once we realize we are not our thoughts, if you find yourself on a negative stream of thinking, it's just bringing attention to that, just bringing awareness. So you don't have to like kind of rethink. No, just bring attention to that and realize that, I mean, that's just a human condition. That's just, it's just thoughts coming through our minds. And once you kind of do that and you give some space, that kind of you frees yourself from the story that you're having in that moment. But I think another thing that is really important, that really resonates with me, is that we have this whole thing about living in the present moment, which is really beautiful, and really the present moment is the only thing we ever have. But I think what's also important is the emotional signature, or what Edgar Tolle calls it, the pain body. So whenever we have emotional experiences throughout our lives, um, that and we don't really resolve them. We just kind of like, if there's a story saying I'm not good enough, and it just kind of really believe it, it kind of stays in our body as an emotional signature, and then kind of remanifest throughout our lives. And so, that's the other aspect, because sometimes, we might know that we are not our thoughts in some level, but those thoughts bring such a powerful and painful emotion that is really hard to detach from that, and that pain, that emotional pain that comes from past experiences, is really trying to drive your mind to think negative thoughts or stuff. It tries to feed from your mind. So what is really helpful for me in that case is not only to be in the present moment, just being aware of my body, but what helps in that state is also feeling that feeling fully, and I know sometimes it's really hard. You might want to start maybe feeling other parts of your body that are not feeling that such intense energy. So you might start with your hands, or you might just start listening to sounds. But eventually, it's good to feel that feeling. For me, like, a lot of times it manifests on my chest, and so feeling that feeling completely. And what happens to me, and I think it happens to everybody, is once you really center yourself. At the beginning, it's really hard. It starts, your mind tries to pitch in, because that emotional body for you is saying that there's some sort of danger, because you're conditioned that whenever something happened to you in the past, and that emotion came, and then the same emotion came later on, so you kind of equate that feeling with something negative. So once you start really kind of focusing on that energy and that pain, the more you're focusing, you start really experiencing a transmutation, that that pain that you previously called as pain starts just, being an energy, a very strong energy, but it's just energy. And and I experience this a lot of times, and I keep on doing it. Once you have that experience, and just stay with the body, just stay with the pain, and realize that it's just energy. I mean, it's one of the most powerful tools that we have.
Wow. Yeah, I learned that technique this year too, and it has really helped me. It's amazing how the connection between how a negative thought has like a corresponding physical feeling, and it's like by focusing your attention on the uncomfortable physical feeling, like your attention completely, it's kind of like shining a light onto that thought. It's the two are parallel, or they're actually like inseparable. So then then it just kind of dissolves, because it seems like the thing that keeps it alive is like the resistance to it, like ironically.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how, like, there's so many things like that actually in the world where, like, there's this kind of like paradoxical relationship between like two different like polar opposites. I see this over and over, like especially like with Karma Tribe, with giving and receiving. It's like like a lot of people, like, they want to give, but they feel uncomfortable with receiving. But like, there is no giving without receiving. There is no receiving without giving. The two are completely like related. So if you want to have a world where there's more giving, we need to have a world where there's more receiving. And like, so that's just one example, but another is like, this cup contains water, right? But is it the cup that contains the water, or is it the space inside the cup? So like, and that's the ancient book, the Tao Te Ching, like one of the most ancient and like best, in my opinion, like spiritual texts that shows all these different paradoxes, and it's just the nature of the universe where everything has like two sides to it. And just like we talked about how the entire universe came from nothingness into like positives and negative particles. Basically, you can never like push past the negativity by ignoring it. You have to ironically focus on it. Hopefully my analogies made sense.
No, that was a really good point. That's a really good point, because whenever you were saying giving and receiving, that's so true, because even though, whenever you give something, and you physically don't receive something back, the fact of giving something kind of in a selfless way is already so fulfilling. You know what I mean? So you are already receiving that kind of like good energy from doing it. So I mean, it's so true.
Yeah, exactly. So Chris, I could sit here and talk with you all day. You're such a great guy to talk to. I remember once my mom commented to me saying, like, I don't know what is the deal with Chris Campbell, but when I talk to him, I feel like I'm the most important person in the world to him. And like, you're such a great listener and a great communicator. So it's really a pleasure to have you on the show. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Chris, do you have any last words? I'm interested to know, what do you think that this world needs more of?
I think, the things that we have been talking about, I think that we need to start, living in that space. I think that's one of the most important things. Try to, and on a practical level, there's many things you can do, and sometimes it's hard at the beginning, because we're so conditioned to living in a different way, very mind oriented, this kind of sense of separation that I'm different from you. So I think we need to start kind of practicing a little bit, just being in that state of being. We are very in a kind of doing type of society, so we definitely need more being. And with more being, I mean, being more present. And you can do that at any time. For me, I wake up every day, and I, so to speak, meditate, but it's just, really sitting down and being with myself, feeling my body, just hearing and just being present. And, I feel that the more I do that, the more I can do that at any time. Right now I can be talking to you and just kind of feeling my body while I'm talking to you, and that creates that awareness that I think at the end of the day take us from that false ego, false needs that we think we need to be happy. And once we start living more through that state, I think that the world is just going to change. It's not going to be so much of an effort. It's just going to be knowing more of who we are and living more on that authentic being, and things are going to just change organically.
Wow, such beautiful words, and I totally agree with you. And I can't help but think that it's like another one of those paradoxes that, like, if we would all just really spend more time with ourselves and focusing on just our awareness and our senses, ironically, that time with ourselves would benefit the entire world so much, because actually, like, it's all connected. It's like basically like the whole world is a projection of everyone's like relationships with themselves.
Yeah, that's completely right.
You've really inspired me this morning, Chris. Well, great. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having some time with us this morning, and thank you, viewers, for watching. So great to share this time with you, and hope everyone has a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.